Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kerygma preparations. And now, what are we going to do today? We are going to learn into a new part of our Kerygma portions. It is St. Paul's letter to the Philippines. We have 4 chapters for the exam. Let's start with chapter 1. Okay. All right. The chapter 1 of the letter to Philippines is written by St. Paul to the Christian community in Philippi. In this chapter, Paul shares his joy, expresses gratitude, and discusses his situation and the progress of the gospel. Okay, first, Paul begins the letter with a warm greeting to the Philippians, thanking God for them. He expresses his joy for their partnership in spreading the gospel from the first day they met. This shows the importance of being grateful and recognizing the support of the fellow believers in our journey of faith too. Paul is confident that God, who started a good work in them, will carry it on to completion. This is a message of encouragement, reminding us that God is always working in our lives, even when we don't see immediate results. St. Paul prays that their love will abound more and more, and that they will grow in knowledge and insight, making them pure and blameless. Paul talks about his imprisonment and how it has actually helped spread the gospel. His courage has encouraged other believers also to speak out boldly for Christ. This teaches us that even in difficult situations, it can be used by God to advance His purposes and inspire others. Some people preach Christ out of rivalry or envy, while others do out of goodwill. But Paul says, I don't care. He rejoices that Christ is at least being preached regardless of the motive, showing us that the message of Jesus is what truly matters, even if people's reason for sharing it may vary from person to person. Paul expresses his hope that he will be released from prison and continue to serve Christ. He believes that whether he lives or dies, it will be for the benefit of the gospel only. Paul's willingness to face death with hope and his desire to stay and help others is a powerful example of selflessness and dedication to God's work. Paul urges the Philippines to live in a manner worthy of the gospel, standing firm in one spirit and striving together for the faith. He encourages them to face any suffering or opposition with courage, knowing that they are not alone. This section highlights the importance of unity, integrity, and perseverance in the Christian life. Right? So, what does Philippians chapter 1 teaches us? It is about gratitude, confidence in God's work, the power of God working through challenges, the importance of sincere preaching, the call to live a life worthy of the gospel. Paul's letter encourages us to stay committed to our faith, supporting each other, and understanding that God uses all situations for his greater purpose. Now, let's go to chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2 is a continuation of Paul's letter to the Philippines. Here it focuses on the example of Jesus Christ and qualities that should characterize every Christian life. What are they? First, Paul begins by encouraging the Philippians to be united, having the same love and spirit. He urges them to put others' interests before their own and to act with humility. This means working together and being considerate of others, showing that humility and selflessness are the key to building strong, supportive communities. Paul also presents Jesus as the ultimate example of humility. Despite being God, Jesus always humbled himself by becoming human and obediently accepting death on the cross. Because of his sacrifice, God exalted him above all names. This passage highlights that true greatness comes from serving others and being humble, just like Jesus did. Paul also encourages the Philippines to continue working out their salvation with fear and trembling, acknowledging that it is God who works in them to will and act according to his purpose. This means actively living out one's faith and understanding that God is guiding and empowering us to do so. Now, Paul advises that the Philippines to do everything without complaining or arguing so that they may shine like stars in a crooked and perverse generation. By living blamelessly and holding firmly to the word of life, they can stand out against others as an example of God's light and truth in the world. Paul finally speaks of his joy and his willingness to sacrifice for the sake of the gospel. He commends Timothy for his genuine concern for the Philippines and praises Epaphroditus for his dedication and hard work. Both of them have served as great examples of commitment and selflessness in service to others. Okay, so chapter 2 is teaching us about unity, humility, living out our faith in a way that reflects the character of Jesus. It calls us to follow Christ's example of selflessness and to live our lives in a manner that shines as a light in the world. All right. So review your chapters in the Bible, chapter 1 and 2, letter to Philippians, and then practice MCQ questions, which I've given a link below. All the best.